Welcome to the Purposeful Life Show with your host, Adrian Starks. If you're looking for the ideas that can be your breakthrough for change in your business, career, or personal life, then this podcast is for you. Join Adrian as he speaks on topics of personal and professional development for the individual and interviews a variety of entrepreneurs, business owners, and thought leaders to reveal their ideas and solutions to success and its challenges. Subscribe to the show and leave us a review. It's time to be a courageous creator of your own change and be purposeful about doing it.
Well, hey, welcome back to the Purposeful Life Show with Adrian Starks, and I'm excited to share with you a new season and new episodes that are coming up. And yeah, I've been away for a little while, actually a couple of months. I took some time away. I wanted to think about where I wanted the show to go. And I always talk about change and challenges, and I want to be that person that I walk my talk. And so I thought about how I wanted this show to be different this go around, but still capture the elements that I wanted before as far as working with entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and people around the world who are actually making changes in their environment. But I also wanted to focus a little more heavily on the purpose behind what they are doing and why they're doing it. Because after all, it is the Purposeful Life Show. So now after some time away and some revamping of the show, you'll feel the new vibe, the new energy, and the new style that will be bringing on new types of guests and also new ideas for you to be able to write down and to use in your business and your personal life. So let's get this going today with just you and I. I want to have a conversation about this wealth topic. And this conversation today is sparked from a social media post that I had about a couple weeks ago regarding a question about what people wanted me to talk about. And out of these questions, one person asked me this: how do the wealthy people get wealthy? And I thought this was a very interesting question because for me, wealth is like success. It has a different meaning for different people. And so I want to elaborate on that right now so that we can all understand what wealth means for us, because many of you are comparing yourselves. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses in the entrepreneurship life, as all of us have made the mistake of doing in the beginning. And that has led to us feeling not so successful, not so wealthy. And I recall this conversation that I heard from Earl Nightingale. He's considered the dean of motivation. And he said that wealth comes in three categories: from our mind, our abilities and talents, and our time. And it's with those three things, if we learn how to structure them in a way to serve people, then the money will automatically flow as it should, depending on our services and what we are giving. I love this ideology that Earl Nightingale presented, and I actually have adopted it as one of my ways of seeing wealth. But I also want to elaborate on this delusion of wealth, because many people assume that wealth is just associated with money. And money is a result of something, of what we're doing, our services, how we're giving it to our clients, our environments, our communities, our businesses. And that money becomes basically the tangible result of how we are seen in the world of business. And I want us to make sure that we don't get caught up in the result without looking at the causes first. So let's talk about wealth a little bit. What is wealth to you? When you think of wealth, do you automatically think of money? As most people do. When we look on TV, on social media, we see the wealthy, the high class, the elite, which are all just basically labels at the end of the day. These people are just like us. They breathe air, they sleep, they have problems, they have insecurities. But what happens is it gets masked by the social media, making them be perfect. And so therefore we compare ourselves and think that we are not wealthy or we're not successful. So let's talk about what areas of your life can you improve and change that can help you to become more wealthy. So let's tie back into what Earl Nightingale mentioned about wealth being an accumulation of our mind, our abilities and talents and time. But I also want to talk about wealth in a sense of other areas of our life. If you've noticed what we've seen on TV, on social media, and I encourage you not to get too distracted by a lot of those things because it's just a grabbing of your attention, which is part of your wealth, your time, and your energy. But to get back to this idea of what we're seeing on TV, they're telling us that, oh, if you have X amount of dollars, then you are going to be wealthy. If you have X amount of assets, you're going to be wealthy. But wealth, once again, is subjective. It's different for everyone. And what may be wealthy for you may not be wealthy for the next person. For example, you can have a person making X amount of dollars per year and be seen as quite wealthy, but also they can be emotionally bankrupt. They could possibly not have a good relationship with themselves or the people close to them. You'll see this a lot. People going in and out of relationships, jumping from one thing to the next, trying to chase the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, which, by the way, no one has ever found that pot of gold. But why do we keep chasing these things? We keep chasing this happiness because we think that is going to allow us to be seen as wealthy. Wealthy is something that comes from the internal state. Think about wealth in terms of your health, your mental state, your emotional state, your social state. And have you been putting your time, your abilities and talents and time into those areas? And as Earl Nightingale says, the result that comes from that depends on how much of yourself you're putting into it. So wealthy is something for me when I think of multiple categories. It's not just that thing that represents numbers because numbers change. Numbers are meant to go up, are meant to go down, are meant to go all over the place. And if you learn how to do it right, you can help your numbers continue to grow. But here's the thing. Everyone that has numbers, which we all do in the bank accounts, they fluctuate from day to day depending on how we're using it. Money is an energy. It is a tool which we should use to see more of the world and to help ourselves and to help others. But it is a servant to us. We have to keep it in its proper place and not let it define who we are. So back to that question of the person on social media, which was a great question, by the way. How do the wealthy become wealthy and how do they stay wealthy? It's very simple. It's a system. They figured out how to get wealthy by doing certain things a certain way, and now they just maintain those habits by doing them better. Now, how they get to that point, that's on their end. You have to ask them about that. And there are multiple programs out here from people that are saying they can help you do this and help you obtain this, and that's great. But I encourage you to think about why do you want those things? What is wealth to you actually? How do you want to be wealthy? Do you want to be wealthy just in numbers, money? Or do you want to be wealthy in your health, in your mental state, in your emotional state, in your relationships? Because that is also part of your wealth. Once again, time, ability and talents, and your mind. Those are the tools that we use to turn the intangible into the tangible form. Things that we can see, smell, and feel and hear. We're very powerful. And as courageous creators on this planet and champions of change, we have to realize that it all starts with us first. And when I started realizing that wealth was not just something about money, it was about what I wanted it to be, it's funny how things work. The money increased. The opportunities increased because I began generating an energy of wealth outside of me. I felt a certain way and I let that be represented by my actions. So what are your actions representing right now to you? A sense of scarcity, a sense of, well, I'm not going to be able to do this because I'm all alone, a sense of, well, this is not going to work for me because it hasn't worked for my friend, it hasn't worked for this person, or a sense of, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough. These things are not going to allow you to be that person of wealth that I know you can be. Right now, you're already wealthy. It's a state of mind. It's a state of how you use your skills and talents. It's a state of how you use your time. Wealth is different for everyone. But if you want to wrap your wealth up into just a numerical value, then that's fine. But understand this, what you do with those things that I mentioned, your mind, your abilities, talents, and time, will impact what you receive on the other end of the scale when it comes to money, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to your emotional state and your health. So you cannot avoid the self-responsibility of your actions and your systems of behavior that will impact your overall wealth. Wealth is different for everyone. Let your wealth define what you want it to define for you. And I want you to be purposeful about doing that. You're a courageous creator on this planet, and you are a champion of your own change. And it's up to you to make that change by deciding how wealthy do you want to be and what areas of your life do you want to be wealthier. Wishing you all much love and success.
Thank you for listening to the Purposeful Life Show with your host, Adrian Starks. Subscribe to the show and connect with Adrian on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Learn more about the host and his change-making perspectives at adrianstarks.net and download the podcast on your favorite platform to be inspired by more life-changing content. It's time to be a courageous creator of your own change and be purposeful about doing it.